one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have roll call, please?
Ryan?
Here.
Nutt?
Here.
Duff?
Here.
Jermini?
Here.
Abraham? Here. Kuzminski?
Here.
Newman?
Here. Thank you. Don't believe any additions?
None tonight, thank you.
Okay. We have the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
We have a motion to approve in a second. Motion by Duff, second by Newman. Any discussion? Nope. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Correspondence and information. We have a few. Comcast, dropping some channels. So, what I'm going to say about that. We do have a compliment from a village resident for priority. So don't think we have too many of those. And we also have a correspondence from Ventura about parking and some striping.
Motion to receive and file as presented.
We have a motion,
Second.
second by O'Brien. Any discussion?
Can I make a motion to pull both B and C? And can we move C down to 10, section A, letter, I guess, number 3?
Number 3. Okay, the second on that?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to bring C down to 10A3 and pulling the 6B.
You need a motion, you need a second.
We got a motion, we got a second.
Okay.
We had a first motion and a second to receive and file. So I guess we got to vote on that one first, right?
Yep.
So the first motion is to receive and file them. Let's take a roll call now.
Newman?
Yes.
Abraham? Yes. Kuzminski?
Yes.
Jermini?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Duff?
Yes.
McNutt?
Yes. And our second motion to bring C down to 10A3 and pull B. Wait a second on that.
Second.
Any discussion with that? Let's take a roll call on that one too, please.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Jermini?
Yes.
Kuzminski?
Yes.
McNutt?
Yes.
Duff?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Abraham? Yes.
Okay, since B was pulled, we can, motion to discuss that now? Good.
If it's been pulled, yeah,
Pulled,
there's
yeah.
discussion on it, I don't think you need another motion.
Okay,
So,
so discussion about B?
So I think it's lovely that we have a compliment for priority. Actually, as I was driving here tonight, I got a phone call about a trash issue, which just seems to be the norm, at least for me anyways, so I just don't know that the service we're getting right now is up to par for what our residents expect and should be receiving. And I'm not on social media, but I understand that there is also lots of feedback about garbage issues in general on our social media sites. So I just wanted that to be noted, that it's nice that we have a nice compliment for the priority on this residents, but I think overall, there's definitely more noise about issues that we're having.
There's also confusion, at least on social media, regarding who to contact when their garbage isn't picked up, or their yard waste, or anything like that. You know, I try to explain to them, now call the village, we've got this portal that we can access, but getting that clarified to the population will be great. Hopefully then, that'll improve Priority's response time and their effectiveness, and get better service out of them too. Because right now, I think there's just, people are calling multiple numbers and not necessarily getting the results they would like or deserve. So getting an email out, getting it on our Facebook page and things like that, having a formal statement, explaining to the public, here's the new system, here's who you need to call, don't bother with priority, we'll take care of it. We'll get that submitted. I think we'll go a long way to helping us get these things done and better documenting issues that might be recurring within the village. If it's simply just randomly missed things, or is it regular things, broken glass, or what have you.
Yeah, we can do that. And just one other comment too. You'll recall when Brett Quiddick was here back over the summer, we had talked about having him come back in roughly maybe 3 months to kind of give an update as to where they were at and get some feedback from us as to how the new system was going to be working. So I haven't confirmed with him, but by my calendar, that would be next month. So hopefully we'll have Brett or someone from Priority here in person at next month's meeting. If for some reason it wouldn't be next month, I would assume November at the very latest.
That'd be great. I guess is there a way we can, if someone is coming, we can put it out there so people can be present?
Well, it'll be on the agenda. It'll be on the agenda as a presentation
Okay.
at that point in time. So I would encourage people who feel strongly about it to watch the website, watch the agendas. And if it's not on the agenda next month, again, I would expect it should be in November. Of course, and they're always welcome to come to the meeting anyway and speak during public comment. So.
That doesn't always happen. All right. Any other discussion? 6B. Takes us to first call the public. It's an opportunity for citizens to address the council on agenda items.
Motion open.
Motion to open, and second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. We are open.
Is anybody else going to speak? Because I would like to go. I don't want to get, but other people have something to say. You know, I'm here every week, so I don't want to go last for every month.
Well, none of us are speaking, so
Okay.
we're not going to get up. So
All right,
come on up.
Tom Daly, 2377 Ventura. I'm speaking about the striping. Hopefully you reviewed the formal response that I sent to the council on the proposal that they put forward last month to stripe another small section of the right-of-way. As I stated in that memo, right, this is your decision to make. If you want to do it, you can do it. But the striping proposal clearly doesn't address the problem that it came to council, and council committed to resolving in February. Drivers have parked routinely over existing no parking areas for years since that plan was put in place in 2019. In addition, there's already MCL adopted by the village that says nobody's supposed to be parking in that manner and in that area. And there's adopted by the village a specific traffic order that says people aren't supposed to be parking in that area already. So, yeah, 3 tools that are already being used and have been trying to be used for more than 5 years, okay, that really aren't working there, okay? We already have laws, traffic order signs, no parking markings or whatever, yet when I came to you guys in February, and even since then I've provided some additional photos, you can see there's still people clearly parking way out into there and actually, you know, giving problems to ingress and egress to my area, right? Furthermore, right, I have a note that's stating from, even if you did that, right, I have a position that was provided to me by the administrator that says, in his opinion, whether or not a vehicle could be partially in a driveway, parked in the driveway and partially in the cul-de-sac, has to be determined on a case-by-case basis based on whether the vehicle extends into the cul-de-sac and how much the vehicle interfered with the movement of other vehicles. So even if you stripe it, right, you're still leaving this up to what somebody else wants to do. See, the broader issue is that all of these vehicles are continuing to park in the cul-de-sac in spite of current prohibitive markings, MCLs, village traffic controls, right? That type of plan, as I told the council in 2019, right, can't work because it puts regulation of that area under an unclear policy of how you're going to enforce it, right? And an inability of being able to enforce it 100% of the time. So even if I call and ask somebody to come and enforce it, right, I still got to drive around it. I still have to go around it in and go around out if I come back 20 minutes later, even if somebody goes out there. So it may help a little bit, but it's never going to solve the problem. So again, if you want to do that, that's fine, right? Worse yet, the driveway that's in front or that's put out there, right, actually blocks or goes in front of my property and blocks ingress and ingress also if I want to use that area. That is right away, right? That's why a different type of resolution needs to be identified that reduces parking of the vehicles out in that rear right-of-way area, right? That's one of the reasons why the right-of-way was designed as a hammerhead, not as private driveways 70 years ago, okay? I'm not here to say that it was a great design for today, but 70 years ago they knew that that area had to be shared by the people that had those two properties. This is exactly what the TIA said in their note, too. The only way that you're going to do that is to make sure that people understand what is right-of-way and what is private property, okay? The problem is the current design that was implemented in 2014, right? It limits the use of public property by other public properties in the village that it was dedicated to sport, right? I've given you guys the diagrams. It shows that more than 60% of the shared area in front of those two properties, right, is used by one driveway, right? More regrettably, as I stated, right, one of the driveways projects halfway across the other driveway, right? So if MCL 257 states it's against Michigan law to park vehicles in front of a driveway, why would we allow a driveway to be placed in front of another driveway that's going to enable vehicles to park in front of the other driveway routinely, okay? That area was used for access for 50 years prior to 2014, right? Okay? And it was used in the same way that all other properties currently use the street right now. There's 20 to 30 feet out there that people pull out of their driveway and they go their way and they can go back and forth. That area exists. It was used prior to that. It was used from 1995 to 2014 when I owned the property in that same manner. You could drive around there freely and do what you needed to. Okay? So painting it is not going to help. We need another solution. So I've asked for several questions to be answered last time in previous meetings, right? Hopefully you guys have looked at those, right? And what I'm asking you guys to do is answer those questions, right? And I want to know when the village can answer my questions and put together a proposal that will address this public property issue once and for all. The council committed to resolving the issue in February, right? I've been patient for 11 years, allowing prior councils, prior engineering assessments, prior everything. I've been sitting here patiently waiting for somebody to actually fix the problem, right? And I'm asking you guys to fix the problem. If it needs to be, if the implementation that TIA has said, then go ahead and make some changes to it and make some proposals off of that. But please, I think it's time to go ahead and make some changes. Thank you.
Are you going to open up the sound system?
We can. When we get to it, we can have a motion to open it.
Right now?
No, when we get to it.
Pardon me?
When we get to it,
I just want to find out after a year, when are we going to get a darn sound system so we can hear people?
well, it is on the agenda today
Okay.
to be discussed, and we have proposals that will be discussed
Thank you.
today. So that's part of what that agenda item is. Anybody else?
closed.
Motion closed. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First call is closed. Consideration approving the following consent agenda.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second?
A motion by Duff to approve, a second by Brian. Any discussions? Have a roll call, please.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Knut,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Kuznicki,
Yes.
Duff,
Yes.
Evelyn,
Yes.
And we have no board appointments. This is number 10, presentations. Mr. Powell.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The first item, the Clara Miller Park Cycle Challenge Area, the BMX track. Due to my schedule, I did not contact the contractor that wanted to do the work for a couple weeks after the last council meeting. He then contacted me, and I let him know that council authorized him to be able to do that work as represented on the board back there. At his timing, we were just looking for his insurances to be submitted. He said he would be submitting those insurances. I told him at any time he could start that project after we had the insurances, so I would expect in the next couple weeks, he will probably do that work on the BMX track. If you have any questions on that, I can try to address them, but it's pretty straightforward. It's more than trying to meet the requirements or any design that I've outlined in orange. It's going to be done in the field. He's going to place the new improvements close to what's put on the drawing, and then he's going to allow the kids to use it for a while, and then he's going to come back in and modify it a little bit more. So he's going to tweak it as they go to get it as close to what they think is the best for the aged kids that are using it. So it's going to be a field, it's going to be installed per the field design. Okay?
I actually do have a quick question about that, and regarding the no motor vehicles, electric, where does that fall?
I think we discussed that we allow them to use that as long as they don't go past a certain time, so they're not creating like a noise ordinance violation so many late in the
Well, they're
day.
electric, so they're really causing anything, so.
Electric vehicle should be fine, it's not a motorized vehicle.
Okay.
So yeah, they're fine on there.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, on the sports courts, I had contacted Goddard Coatings. They're the ones that did the painting and the preliminary repairs of some initial cracking. They have been extremely busy this time of the year between the last council meeting and now, building the new sports courts for the school systems and repairing the cracks in the existing school systems courts. I did touch base with them, and in the next 2 weeks, the company should be much less busy than they have been over the last month. They offered to do a Zoom meeting or a conference call, or come out and actually meet with representatives of council, specifically Councilman Giramini. So in the next 2 weeks, they said they could schedule a time out there. I will try to put together their time, and then with Councilman Giramini, and see if we can't put those two together, as well as David and myself as well, out there to discuss the cracks. But they did want me to represent that cracks are very normal in sports courts. Any large slab of concrete or asphalt, it's very normal. They're repairing cracks for the school systems courts, tennis courts, and pickleball courts, and quite frankly, parking lots every year. But they also understand there may be some areas that have some spalling or some chipping and things like that, and they want to be able to address those as well. So I think a face-to-face meeting is in order, and in the next couple of weeks, they have promised they will meet with representatives from the village. All right. The Ventura Drive, I tried very hard to get 3 bids on that project. Council gave us authorization to do the striping under $500, which is, I believe, well under what it's going, well over what it's going to be. So I think the striping will be under $500. But I could not get the larger companies to even take notice. It's too small of a project for the larger striping companies that do the roadways. I do, however, have a meeting with the IC Striping, industrial striping. They're the company that did the striping for the paving contractor a couple projects ago, in which if you went down the road, you kind of saw that their equipment kind of meandered the line a little bit. And so we did not use them on the last couple of road projects we did, but for this small of an area, I figured that they were perfect for it, and they're willing to do the work in the next couple of weeks if that's still council's direction. They're going to, I sent them all the drawings, and they're going to get me a price, and I will coordinate that with the administrator and have that done in the next couple of weeks if that is what council's direction is.
We also have the 6C Downing group in there too. So we can,
Do you want a motion for us to open for discussion?
I don't think it's part of that one, so we can discuss it now.
So just in general, I was hoping that we could discuss the parking that is Ventura Hammerhead. We've received lots of emails, lots of documentation. I know I've read through all of it. I've visited the site many times. That's where I walk with my family often. I think the only recommendation that we have left from TIA is to reconstruct Ventura Drive so the road surface is all one material and the public right-of-way where parking would be prohibited and clearly show a separation from private property. So I think that's the only decision in my mind that as a council we should be considering at this point.
We have an estimate as to how much that would cost, Mike?
I do not have that estimate, no.
Ballpark, do you have any idea?
A ballpark, the paving contractor that we would probably have do this, since it's not part of our major paving program, would be Sarter Paving, and they do no work for under $1,500 to just come out and do the work. So to come out and remove that pavement, I'm estimating that it'll be about $2,500.
Now, the recommendation was paving the entire Hammerhead all the way around. That was TIA's recommendation.
I
Is that
apologize, you're
correct?
right. I only talked about the western portion of that cul-de-sac.
TIA's recommendation was the entire thing.
Yes, and to do the other side, I would want to make sure that those homeowners were in agreement with how I would recommend actually paving that, because it's going to add in a great deal of drainage from the roadway down that slope that's going to flow onto their property. So the drainage going into their garages is going to increase dramatically if we pave that eastern side of the Ventura Hammerhead.
And that would eliminate a significant amount of area for
many residents. Would it?
It would. As a matter of fact, the home at 2372 would not have any room to park outside of their garage. There would be no room, because the paving would the road paving would come within 8 feet of their garage door. And it would eliminate all their landscaping that is currently between their house and the existing road paving.
I just find this is, you know, I wish it was as easy as you know, people think it is, but you know, the decisions that were made to do some of this stuff, really no members of the council were here, so we're trying to kind of inherit something that is an issue that we need to find a solution to.
I think that discussion could take place whether you pave, I'm just going to talk about the westerly side of that cul-de-sac area or that Hammerhead area. If you paved it all in the same color pavement, it's still going to be asphalt, but if you did it all in a uniform asphalt, it would identify where the road right-of-way was, not unlike the proposed cross-hatching that council has already authorized. So whether you have cross-hatching paved over the existing pavement, or whether you take all the pavement out and put new pavement in, you still have the visual image of a no parking area. So whether it's black or it's white striping, I don't know what difference there is and how that would prevent somebody from parking in that area. In my opinion, and I'm going to leave it to the chief, if you just pave that area and you don't stripe it, no parking, then it's going to be no different than any other cul-de-sac, which is what this is. This is an area of a cul-de-sac, and there isn't a cul-de-sac made with the same frontage as a normal street. So the comparison of a cul-de-sac driveway, a driveway tying into a cul-de-sac, to someone on a straight section of roadway, you can't even compare it. Every single cul-de-sac I've ever designed, every cul-de-sac that's in the village, every cul-de-sac that's in any other community, their right-of-way distance is smaller than a standard right-of-way, standard frontage on a lot. The ordinances actually identify that. If there's a minimum frontage of 70 feet on a standard size lot, there is a separate provision for a smaller right-of-way, smaller section of property that fronts a cul-de-sac, because if you think about it, they're all pie-shaped lots. So you start out small at the road and you get big as you go back. That's a standard cul-de-sac. So this is not unusual to have less frontage on a paved roadway than on a cul-de-sac. And again, every cul-de-sac is the same way. Each property owner then has to deal with them having less frontage on that cul-de-sac. It'd be nice if neighbors got along. Sometimes neighbors don't. Sometimes people have to take it upon themselves to rebuild their own driveway in order to solve the problem, instead of, let's put it this way, I don't know of a community ever who has gone in and repaved a cul-de-sac because of somebody's driveway. And it's just, I've been doing this for 50 years, and so that would be very unique for the village.
I'd go back to prior to 2014, before anything was done, before anybody's driveways were new, and you look at I went ahead and went down to County Gateway and looked at that overhead, and I see two driveways extending significantly into the right-of-way, dramatically. And then I went to the 2015 overhead, where there is a new driveway put in at 2373, and what I don't see is a significant difference in that driveway's shape, size, or reach. And yet we're told that in 2014 is when this issue started, with this driveway being approved by the village. I can't see, by looking at the overhead, how that new driveway affected anything with the egress and ingress for 2377. Then I go and I see what the village did, and we cut out part of that driveway at 2373 and driveway at 2377 to make this space, as I understand it, accessible for fire trucks to be able to come in and get out. Is that correct, Mike?
Fire trucks and emergency vehicles.
Right,
That
so-
is correct.
And that met that standard. It's not the standard that is ideal, because this is a non-conforming space
Right.
made at a time when those kind of vehicles of that size just did not exist. On the other hand, TIA made the recommendation to pave the whole thing, and that would potentially solve it, though not certain. On the other hand, that issue has been lingering with this council since that recommendation came, and the most effective way to make that clear to the public, to anybody who's concerned, I believe, is to vote on it, so that we can definitively say, as a council, we support that and we'll do that, or no, we're done with that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to take that approach as this body. So I motion that we adopt the TIA recommendation to pave the entire hammerhead of Ventura, that section, and follow the recommendation.
I'll second that.
Under discussion, if I could just say something, TIA looked at a two-dimensional view of that hammerhead. So if you look at it on paper, it's very easy to draw a line and say, we're going to pave up to that line. Whatever option council's looking to have done, we are going to have to coordinate the drainage that's going to be increased on 2372 and 2376. That new water from that, all that new paved area is going to flow down into their yard, down their sidewalks, and along their house. So TIA did not take into account any of the drainage concerns that might take place because of this paving. So we would want to make sure that we dealt with all the engineering issues and not just repave the cul-de-sac, trying to meet one criteria.
And can I add on to that too, in all the discussion we've had about this? I don't recall the drainage discussion, so I'm sure that was just like engineering speak. But if the village is leaning in that favor, or in that direction, then we should explore this issue and be confident that the village isn't creating a situation that is flooding that property. Because if you are, although you may be immune from certain damage claims, it could potentially be a taking of someone's property if you're flooding them. So if you are leaning in that direction, it should be conditioned upon it clearing drainage concerns.
Yes.
And would we not also have the issue that the one driveway would be about 8 feet long?
The private section of their driveway would be approximately 8 feet long, and if you prohibited parking in just this cul-de-sac, then yes, they would have no parking outside on their property at all.
But you would only be paving in the right-of-way.
Yes, but the right-of-way stops 8
Goes up to
feet
their
off
house.
of their
Right.
their garage.
So it's not taking their property, because technically it's
They're not
public
taking
property.
away their ability to park.
Yeah.
Because your driveway would only be 8 feet long, and
Right.
the car is 16 to 24 feet, depending on where you drive.
Correct.
And it thus would create another problem for us.
Yes.
So I actually had asked Chief to look into any kind of parking infractions that we've been called out to as a police force, right? In the last, how many years you could go back in your files?
All the way back to like 1999.
Just to get a better feel for how many times you're called out for a parking infraction. I know we've received a lot of emails, and I have no doubt that there are vehicles parking where they should not be parking in the no parking zone. I just have a hard time visualizing that it will change if the material changes. I still think people are gonna park where they're gonna park, and the only way for us to enforce the no parking is to rely on our police.
Yeah, I think one of the issues is like, you know, I've been here for 2 years and I've responded to 2 parking complaints up in the cul-de-sac. One time was reported by, I think it might have been, I'm not really sure. Anyway, but up there, moved the vehicle, he wasn't aware of the no parking, moved it. Second time, Councilman Laybourne was up there walking around, some guy was parked in the no parking zone to 2380, a paint contractor asked him to move it, no problem. So we have issues, like if people do call and let us know that there's an issue up there, we will respond and we will do something. If we can't find it out, we can issue a citation. Most of the time, the people that park up there usually stay with the vehicles, that's what we found. And so I ran checks of all the 2373, all the way up to the other 4 houses. We had like 15 parking complaints in the last number of years that I've been here. I mean, before I was even here, so. Some there were reports on, some weren't. One person was actually was cited for parking in front of 2381 years ago. I think one of the issue is, and I can respect Mr. Daly, he's telling us that, for example, the July City Council meeting, he brought in a picture of a vehicle that was backed toward his property, and when he left his residence, it was there. When he came back 20 minutes later, it was still there. So he sent you a picture, but he didn't call us and say, hey, there's a vehicle up here, can you come out and take a look at it? We have a responsibility whenever we get called by a citizen to respond to every complaint. And since I've taken over here, when somebody calls the police and we respond, we write a report on everything that we do. And so I don't recall us getting a call on July 8th to take a look at the vehicles, but it's very simple, I think. I agree with Councilwoman Laybourne. The material is not going to change the problem. If people will call us when the issue is occurring, we can address it and go from there. That's just the simplest thing. I mean, I know that he's been, from my conversation with Chief Ellsworth, we've had hundreds of photos, but I can't see the number of times where he's actually called and said, hey, come take a look at this vehicle. It's parked illegally. And that again, you know.
Can I speak up for myself here? I called numerous times, and I had them
Mr.
come out.
President, I don't think we're open.
And I had notes written that you see that were responded to by the village administrator, who said they weren't going to do anything when people were parked in the parking spot. That's why I stopped calling the police, because nothing was being done. And I said that to you guys before, but you guys are blowing right over that. So I don't appreciate you guys trying to whitewash this issue over.
No, what I'm saying is if you call us and there's a violation, and we're going to respond. If you call us, we will respond, and it's not going to take us very long to get there. So,
but I'm telling you, there were 100 times
Just remind people that
hasn't,
Mr. Daly,
that didn't happen.
we're in a
and that
discussion
stopped
about an
people
agenda
from
item,
getting
Mr. Daly. This
started
is not a back and
doing it.
forth, so appreciate we're not open right now.
if you call us, we'll respond. Take enforcement action, move the vehicle. Obviously, I know it's kind of the situation up there is not perfect, it's not great. It's a lake community, the property, I will agree, is very, very janky, but we can't address anything. It's not like it's a main thoroughfare, we're not up there all the time. We're up there when people call us and respond as to whether it's a loud party or a parking, we're up there, we'll respond and we'll have a record of it. Start calling us when the vehicles are up there. We'll respond, and we'll have a record of it. I've been here for 2 years, we've got 2 complaints, and they're both on record, we have.
Any discussion? We have a motion to take TIA's recommendation and asphalt the entire road right-of-way at the Ventura cul-de-sac. And we have a motion by Jermaine, second by Councilman Duff.
So are we just asphalting on top of previous asphalting?
It's a bigger footprint.
It's a bigger footprint. You'd be taking up concrete of driveways.
All right, that's what, I just wanted to clarify that, that's what I thought.
Well, we would check with all the existing homeowners there, make sure we're not gonna have an issue. We wouldn't just do it, correct?
That's correct. I would not, as your engineer, I would not do that. If a problem developed, then I would bring it back to you at the next council meeting.
Concept over time.
Just making sure.
Yeah, we have to get all the engineering aspect of it done prior to doing anything.
I have a question for Mike.
Sure.
In our community and other communities, is it typical to have driveways abut right up to road right of way?
If you think about it, every single driveway for every single lot anywhere in the country has a portion of that driveway that goes from private property to the edge of the pavement of the road.
Right.
that's still in the road right-of-way. So every piece of property in the village has a section of their driveway installed within the road right-of-way. That's very normal.
If it goes right to the pavement, some of them have the asphalt aprons that go into the, let's say, concrete driveway. Correct.
There are certain geometrics and different materials that are used. Some of our drives have concrete that go right up to the edge of our pavement. Some have asphalt up to the right-of-way and then concrete. So there's many ways to do it, but it's still a private driveway going across public land to get to the roadway.
Any other discussion?
Let me ask a question, and I'm sorry if I get too technical. And Mr. Daly and I have had discussions like this in the past. On a cul-de-sac, if it were a brand-new cul-de-sac, the driveways typically on all the lots that front that cul-de-sac are typically pointed towards a center of the cul-de-sac. So they're actually designed to try to geometrically all meet at the center of a cul-de-sac. If you take a look at Mr. Daly's cul-de-sac, Mr. Daly's driveway, it does not angle towards the center of the cul-de-sac. It actually angles towards the driveway at 2373. A way to resolve that, if we're paving as well, is to modify his driveway to angle it more towards the center of the cul-de-sac, away from the driveway at 2373. Most of the other driveways angle towards the center of the cul-de-sac. His does not. And so I may approach, if we were going to pave this area, as part of it, I may approach Mr. Daly and say, listen, do we have permission to go on your private property? Because his driveway on his own property does not angle to the center of the cul-de-sac. It angles towards the driveway next to him. So the village would not have any authority to go on his property and re-angle his driveway. That would be up to him as to whether or not he would like his driveway modified to not aim towards his neighbor's driveway, but more towards the roadway center of that cul-de-sac as well. So I may approach Mr. Daly and see if we go through with this, and I don't have a danger with drainage issues on the east side, I may approach him and say, would he be willing to allow us to redefine his geometrics for his driveway angled more towards the center of the road.
Why don't you just talk to me now? Why can't I be part of the conversation?
Point of order, Mr. President.
Can you open it up? No?
There's all kinds of things you guys are saying that just aren't necessarily true. I understand, but there's more.
If council would like to open up for
Yeah, let's make a
discussion.
motion. I mean, let's get this all on tape. I make a motion that we open it up so Mr. Daly can talk.
Second.
We have a motion to open it up by Councilwoman Leibor, a second by Giovanni. In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Because this is all I really want to do, is just explain to you the position.
Can you come with it?
Sure. Look, my driveway is not the issue. I'm sorry. You may think it's the issue. The land was platted so that my property faces directly out into the right-of-way. That right-of-way is shared between me and 2373. There's an area there that's 29 feet wide, right? And about 29 feet in length, okay? That area is right-of-way. That area has always been right-of-way, and it never had a driveway on it prior to 2014. There was no driveway. It was dirt. People threw rocks. I threw rocks in there. Other people threw rocks in there because they didn't like driving over the dirt, but there was never anything there. All the houses parked well away from it, and that area was open. That area was open as long as I can remember, which goes back into the 1970s, because I've been out here since 1966, and I spent most of the summers out here before that, okay? So that area has always been open, okay? When they put the driveway in that exists now, that driveway goes across the driveway that my property is in front of. The driveway in my property, if you look at it, sits out in front of that 29-foot by 29-foot area, and 60% of it now is covered by a driveway, a cement driveway that was put in there, okay? It wasn't driveway before, it's in driveway now, okay? And that driveway goes 12 feet in front of my driveway. There's 12 feet. If I want to back out the center of my driveway, I can't back out my driveway if there's a car parked legally on the driveway there. I have to drive around it. My driveway already is tucked towards the middle. If you actually look at the driveway right now, when I put it in so that I was not interfering or I was reducing as much that I could interference with the other side, it goes on a 45-degree angle out towards the cul-de-sac. So I did whatever I could to minimize that, okay? Right now, the way that the road is designed, and the way that the road right-of-way is designed, it makes people stop so that they're not parking in the driveway and park out in the middle of the right-of-way. They don't want to park on the driveway. There's no cars there, and they're still parking out in that area, okay? I've called the previous chief and had him come out after other police officers come out, and I've had them tell me, well, you know what? There's nobody else in the driveway, but you know what? You can just drive around that. It's not a matter of driving around it. I can't call you and have you come out and move that thing and wait for you for 20 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes if I'm going to work or I'm doing something, okay? I'm not saying you have to do what the TIA said to do, but there's obviously way more proposals that can happen to make the situation better, and I've tried for 11 years to convince someone, right? I gave 3 proposals, right, to the engineer. I gave 3 proposals to the village years ago that could be used to solve the problems that we're seeing. We don't want to talk about that. What we need to do is solve the problem, not make it a black and white issue. We need to solve the problem, okay? So thank you very much for listening to me, okay? But again, there wasn't a driveway before this driveway was put in. And in fact, if you go back to the March 2011 meeting that they had with the Zoning Board of Approval, Mr. Malik even stated that that area that was out there was road right-of-way. There was no question in the zoning board's mind it was road right-of-way. It was not driveway, okay? So there's a lot of misnomers here, and before you make decisions, I hope that everybody gets the right information before we make the decision.
What do you want?
I want somebody to make...
Now, what do you want?
What do I want? The only thing I can say right now, because the only thing that's been proposed is what the TIA has done.
No, that's not what I asked. I asked, what decision would you want?
I would like to see the proposal one of the proposals that I put forward in 2018.
Which is?
They're in the packages that I've provided to you in the past. I would like one of those implemented. That's what I would like to see done. It doesn't force you to do anything.
Mr. Daly,
Yeah.
the emotions don't need to get up. We're
Okay.
trying to have a discussion.
But
So
you got to look at this
appreciate
from my
you. Listen,
perspective.
listen.
For 11
You do.
years, I've
You do.
driven around cars.
We do.
Right.
I think this council understands your frustration. We do. We're listening.
And I appreciate that, I told you.
But I think, speak for everybody, they want to find a middle ground solution somehow without making problems somewhere else. So that's what we're trying to do.
And I think it's viable.
It's not, unfortunately, it's not, like you said, cut and dry, black and white. And previously, you had kind of admonished us, the village previously, about making such a quick decision. And, okay, we're a new council, and now we're trying to really understand and try and find a solution that helps you, but also doesn't negatively affect others. Okay, and that's where we're at. Okay, so.
And I can appreciate
and-
that.
Yeah, we're trying to do this thoughtfully, and it's not rubber stamp it like you said before, where it took a month, and so it kind of, it's two things. You're upset that it was so quick previously, but now you're upset with us because it's taking so long. But we're, this council's, new to it, but we're listening and understanding like, more than any other council. And so we see your frustration. Okay, we're not taking it lightly. We just want to minimize negative effects on everybody around the area.
Right.
It's not
I'm not
easy.
asking you to go and do the other side that's going to create a problem. And in fact, quite frankly, if they actually do the driveways correctly on that side, this can be averted. Okay? There's a way to do it if you do the driveway. But you can't put one person's driveway in front of another person's driveway. You can't park a car in front of a driveway. Why you put it, this is where I get frustrated,
Yeah,
right? Why would anybody allow a driveway to get put in front of somebody else's driveway?
We all know your frustration, and we've inherited something that, it's.
Yeah, and I'm sorry
No,
you have to listen to me, right? I'm sorry you have to listen to it, but at least, maybe now after 11 years, maybe something can happen to make it right, and still make it right so that all parties can be somewhat, and I've said this before in the meetings, no one's going to be happy, right? No one's going to be happy. But maybe it's actually reasonable what we do so that all parties aren't this happy. So I'm open to bring those back in. I've sent them, you guys have them in your packet that I provided in February, and twice now I've stood in front of you and said, if the TIA is the only way that you guys can do it, then you have to vote on it. But I've actually sat and talked with you directly like this and said to all of you, there are other proposals that were put forward back in 2018 to try and do this that weren't utilized, right? And instead what was said is we're going to take and we're going to try and control or regulate this area with these other tools. You can see from the hundreds of documents that I sent, and again, I started sending the documents and not calling the police because I would call the police and I would get notes saying, well, we can't do anything about that.
Can we agree on one thing, or that there's kind of two issues, really, that you're concerned with? One is the parking around the cul-de-sac.
Right.
Okay.
Which I
And
believe
then
is a function of
two-
how the driveways are designed.
Two,
Yeah.
give your time, please. And two, the issues of the way the driveways, interact. So they're really
Correct.
two separate concerns at this point.
Right.
And so that's, separating those. So with the striping, we're trying to address the parking concern, okay, that out of the way, in a way that makes it known, but we can't, have cars sitting there all the time waiting for something to happen. So we do rely on citizens and residents to, let the police know. And I know it's inconvenient, I know it's troublesome, but it's like speed limit signs. They're up there. Do they stop people from speeding? No. So we do need some participation with that. And that's kind of, and I
Can I
understand,
respond to that?
I understand your frustration with it. You don't feel they respond quick enough, but, at least having something on record would be helpful.
You do have everything on record, because
We have
I
emails.
did call several times, and what I would get back was, we didn't think they were a problem, even though they were parking over the clearly marked parking areas, and we're going to decide if there's a problem or not a problem, not based on what the written ordinance was or what the markings were. We're going to determine it based on our own, right? So that's with the markings, okay? But again, you correctly sum it up. The other problem is, if my property is here and there's somebody that's got a driveway halfway across it, and that's where my driveway is, halfway across my property line, right? How am I
Well, it's in the road right away, not on your property line.
No, it goes in front of my property line, out in front of my property line, which is where my driveway is. If you look at that square, It's directly out in front of what my property is, right? And that's why it was developed as a hammerhead. That whole area is supposed to be open so that when I want to drive out, I can drive out. When somebody else wants to drive out the other way, somebody else can drive out. When somebody has a problem and they need an emergency vehicle, they can get more than one car into that area, or a car that's another 30 feet away, because that's where that driveway is coming out. I get everything you guys are saying. I think there's a way to work this.
Yeah, and can we make an agreement here right now that give the current police administration the opportunity to respond? Because I know some of the frustrations is maybe historically, so give the current police administration the opportunity to respond.
I'm happy to do that. If as long as I'm not going to get a note from somebody saying, we're not going to do it.
Well, I can't at least, give them the opportunity, is what I'm asking.
But listen, I'll talk to my crew. Obviously, if there's somebody parked that's in a no parking zone, there really shouldn't be any discretion or judgment on our part. I mean, if it's not parked, if it's parked illegally, then we can either, one, take enforcement or tow it, or we can just contact the owner and say, could you please move this?
Well, thank you. That hasn't been the previous experience over the
Gotcha.
last 9 years
Okay.
prior to you. That was not the experience that I was involved in. That's why I simply started documenting it rather than calling it, so that I didn't get into 3 weeks of sending notes back and forth to people and not having it resolved anyways.
Well, thank you for being open to giving the new administration, police administration, the opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have nothing against anybody. In fact, I've worked with Mr. Sovak on several things already that we've had issues with, right? And actually his Marine deputy. So I have no issues with the response that I've gotten from him, and I hope to work with them. That's fine.
Okay.
What I do need is I need to just have something be done to help this situation out after 11 years. It's going to go with whoever owns the property afterwards. So this issue is not going away. It hasn't gone away in 11 years with what's been done. It's not going to go away. So anything we can do to minimize it is a good thing, not a bad thing, because you're still going to have that problem when I'm gone, when the person at 23737 is gone. It's still going to be an issue with the way that it's set up right now. And that's all I've asked from the start, is for somebody to look at that and help address it. I'm not expecting perfection. Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, if there's questions, I'm willing to answer them and give an opinion. And that's all it is, an opinion. Hopefully backed up with some facts. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to close?
We have motion to close.
Second.
Can I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're opposed. What's sitting out there is a motion by Councilman Germini to adopt TIA's recommendation of paving the entire road right-of-way in the Ventura cul-de-sac. And that was seconded by Mr. Duff. So I think we've had a lot of discussion on that already. Any further? Can I have a roll call, please?
O'Brien,
No.
Newman,
No.
McNutt,
No.
Jeremy,
No.
Acorn,
No.
Duff,
No.
Sneaky,
No.
Motion passes. Motion fails.
If-
Motion fails, sorry.
If I may make a statement or a suggestion, since there's so much documentation, I am totally lost in the weeds. Can we get a fresh, this is what you want, and then we can discuss that in depth. Like I said, and this, I'm totally lost, okay? So let's make it simple, clear.
I've given those proposals
I-
before, I'll cut them out,
But
and I'll provide them again.
unfortunately, I mean, a lot of this I have kept, but there's some I have not. So that's to make it perfectly clear. And so hopefully we get an end to this, if everybody's in agreement with that.
Absolutely. All right, number 11, public hearings, we have none. brings us to new business. Parks and Rec Board recommendations.
So Council, Parks and Rec is looking to create some directional signs in the park, pointing basically to give people a better idea of where things are due to the length of Claire Miller Park, the fact that it runs through essentially 3 different sections of the village, and the experiences we've had with a lot of people going, where is this? I didn't know this existed, as they're going through it. So it would basically be a structure of posts being put in the ground with pointer signs saying baseball fields, Veterans Memorial, bathrooms, so on and so forth. We have a quote from Sawdust and Spit Up, which is a local, yes. She's been a vendor at the Walled Lake Farmers Market. She was a vendor at the Corn Roast. She has a lot of experience with woodwork. So we got a quote from her. She created a sample that is not of that, but is of something else that we could use in our bulletin board due to the fact that what we have there is just peels. And so she wanted to give us a go. She would like to bore, when she does the actual signs, she'll bore them not as deep, because she realized after doing that was a little too much.
Too aggressive.
But she would be using aspen as the wood. She feels that'd be a sturdy enough wood to handle the weather. They would be painted in primary colors, eye-catching, so that people can see them. And so we're asking for $1,506 for the Sawdust and Spit Up, and then an additional $250 for the posts and the bolts and things to attach everything. Additionally, there'd be 4 mastheads attached to the tops of the signs that would say Claire Miller Park, and then we will be attaching a QR code that we'd like to have so that people can scan that and then go to the village map that the water board created. And we'd like to get the Parks and Rec stuff on there so that they can also go there, and so we can really help people find where they are within Claire Miller Park.
So 1756, right? Total?
Yes, but the ones for her was,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we release the funds of 1506 for the park signs as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Duff, a second by Jeremy to release the funds for the park signs. Any discussion? We have roll call?
Jeremy?
Yes.
Nutt?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Claiborne?
Yes.
Woznicki?
Yes.
Duff?
Yes. I'd like to also make a motion that we release $250 for miscellaneous materials for the installation of the park signs as presented.
Second.
A motion by Councilman Duff, second by Jeremy to release $250 for materials to install. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Nutt?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Duff?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Claiborne?
Yes.
Woznicki?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes. B, Beautification Committee recommendations.
I'll make a motion that we release $400 for purchase of hay bales, pumpkin, corn stalks, and miscellaneous supplies for the fall decoration.
Second.
Motion by Duff, second by Newman to release funds for Beautification Committee. Any discussion?
They do beautiful work. They make things look great.
Fantastic.
Very festive.
Roll call.
Newman?
Yes.
Claiborne?
Yes.
Woznicki?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Duff?
Yes.
And Nutt?
Yes. All right, that brings us to 12C, Village Hall Sound System. We had a request to open that up for discussion.
Make it open to public discussion.
Motion to open by Newman, second by Laybourne, to open up the 12C for discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, 12C is open for discussion.
All I want to know is for over a year,
Sorry.
Dave Layburn, 2335 Shaken. All I want to know, it's been over a year that I come to this meeting and I can't hear that side of the room. You folks are talking and you're looking down and it's not coming across the room. The old table was good because you didn't have this to block you. If you look at how the senators and congressmen do their talking, they're sitting like this when they talk. You guys are sitting on those nice chairs, look at him, right there. And then when he talks,
Mr.
you
President?
can't hear him. So please, if you can't do it, I'll get you a guy to do it for you.
Motion to close.
Motion to close. That's second by Nemo. All in favor?
Okay.
We're now closed. 12C, Village Sound System.
Council, when we first presented a recommendation to you, earlier this year, council asked for 2 additional proposals for potential upgrades to the village meeting room sound system. What I've compiled and come back to you with is actually 4 additional options, so you have actually 5 proposals that you can choose from in front of you. The recommendation that I've submitted to you is based in very large part based upon the information and recommendation that I received from Ken Milburn, our videographer from Merge Live, because to be perfectly honest, all the different quotes I received, they might have been written in Latin, because in terms of the technology, that was way above my pay grade. So, again, 5 recommendations, 3 for wired systems, 2 for wireless. Again, Ken's recommendation is that we immediately dismiss the wireless recommendations because he says they're, generally speaking, more expensive and more trouble because you have to charge the microphones and things like that, more potential for problems and things to break down. In terms of the 3 recommendations for the wired system, the first, the least expensive from Blue Water, would propose to use the existing mixer. Ken has indicated that that mixer is already overtaxed, that we already have too many speaker lines or microphone lines running into that. It may be working now, but he feels if we continue to use that, even with upgraded microphones, it's just a matter of time before that dies. So he has recommended against the recommendation from Blue Water for the wired system. He's also recommended against the option or the proposal from MDIS for the wired system because of the type of sound system that they're recommending. Specifically, both of the proposals from MDIS include something that Ken has characterized as a feedback destroyer, which requires someone in the meeting room that manually adjusts the sound levels during the meeting to compensate for feedback and things like that. I don't see that as something that I would do. I don't think that's something that we would expect our videographer from Merge Live to do. So for that reason alone, Ken has recommended against the 2 proposals from MDIS. The one proposal, if you will, at that point that's left standing is the proposal from Third Coast, which was the original recommendation that we received for the installation of new gooseneck microphones for the council tables, for the podium, 6 speakers that would be mounted in the ceiling above the audience, and then an equipment rack that would go into the storage room in the closet in the back of the room. We still would have cabling running across the floor of the room, but the rep from Third Coast has indicated that it would be much better organized and much less discreet than the cabling which we have on the floor right now, which to me is a real eyesore and is a potential hazard as well. So, as I indicated, Third Coast has agreed to hold the labor cost from the earlier quote that they gave us. There has, however, been an increase in the price of the equipment that they're recommending. So my recommendation, again, based upon the recommendation from Mr. Milburn, is to accept the proposal from Third Coast in an amount not to exceed $18,789.90.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept that proposal as presented for $18,789.90.
Second that?
We have a motion by Councilman Duff, second by Councilman O'Brien to accept Third Coast's wired proposal. Any discussion?
Why does so Third Coast quotes us 10 mics for the table, but there's 11 spots. So while the other vendors were quoting us 11 for this spot, for the table. So would we need another mic added? I mean, Chief and I can share, but I feel like that would be,
It's probably, they went off what's over here too.
Right, yeah.
Notice that we actually share
Yeah,
microphones.
we currently share microphones.
right now we do have a
so-
lot of that sharing, my point being though, is there just, I don't think it's a critical thing, I'm just, if we're gonna do this,
Yeah, I'm not sure why the recommendation is for 10 as opposed to a different number. The only thing I can say is that Third Coast was out early in the year. They were here, as were the other vendors. They had a chance to look at the room, to look at the table, and this is their proposal.
I mean, if it works, I'm fine with that, but and the other thing is, in their quote versus the previous quote they gave us, this time, for some reason, they quote us for 2 PoE switches rather than 1. And I'm not sure why. But what would have changed that would have caused that?
Just going back to the microphones for a second. It appears they're $432.80
Yeah.
apiece. So why don't we just add 2 to it and bump the price up by
Wait, what, you need one?
$865.60?
Would you really need one?
Well,
No, you-
4,
No, we-
4, you got
Because they're
12 up
sharing
here.
too, so there's 10 at the table
Yeah.
right now.
There's 10 at the table. There's,
Yeah, so you need 12.
okay.
So yeah, I'll friendly that one.
Solves the problem.
Yep. I have no idea about the POA switch,
Motion now
What would
is
you need?
to
1260.
so I don't know.
pay 2 more microphones.
Yeah.
Unless they can comfortably explain why we wouldn't need them.
I think they were just matching what we
That's
currently
what I would
have.
assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can double check with them, obviously.
But again, we can friendly it in the, if needed, not to exceed.
And based on what I calculated, the new price would be $865.60 more, which would be about $19,655.50. So I could just say not to exceed 20 grand.
Yeah. In other
We're
words,
good.
friendly that.
Okay.
Who seconded that one?
I did.
Oh.
Yep, I'll
Okay.
friendly that also.
Okay, cool. So the motion not to exceed 20,000. Any other discussion?
So for me, from like an acoustic standpoint, I think when I'm watching other meetings back on our Zoom platform through Merge Live, I can hear everyone in that setting when I'm at home. Every once in a while, it's difficult maybe to hear some of our council members up here, but are we addressing both? Are we addressing, is this a blanket solve for at-home viewers and for folks that in this room, both council members and the audience? I guess I'm not clear on, is it an issue with both, or is it just going to solve for both if there was an issue for both?
I've never received a complaint from anyone who's been viewing our meeting videos on the YouTube channel that they couldn't hear what was being said at the table. This proposal is in response to the complaints that we received from members of the audience that they can't hear. That's why we're talking about mounting speakers in the ceiling, so the sound is actually piped in right above them in the audience.
And then would this proposal be like a Cadillac plan, or is there an option for us to water it down a little to bring the price down? Like, is this the bare minimum to get the acoustics where we need to be able to hear each other, or is this like all the bells and whistles?
I mean, this is Third Coast's recommendation as to the improvements that would be appropriate for this particular meeting space. I mean, I don't know. We can have someone from Third Coast come in if council would like to ask them these questions directly. I'm sure there are more expensive options that are out there. If there are less expensive options, I would assume they didn't include those in the recommendation because they didn't feel they would work, but I can't speak for them. as I indicated in my memo too, Ken indicated that he would be more than happy to come and speak to council directly as well about all the proposals. So, I mean, if council isn't comfortable that I'm moving forward with this tonight, with any of the options, we can certainly set it over and we can make arrangements for Ken to come in. We can have someone from Third Coast to come in.
We have a motion and a second, let's vote on it. If we have an issue with it, shoot it down.
Well, I just want to say, first of all, the Blue Water wire, they're using a lot of existing equipment. That's why it's only $10,000.
It would basically just be for new microphones, that's
Right,
correct.
right. So I
Everything
mean,
else would be the
you
same.
know, essentially, this quote is, like they said, the mixer is ancient and too small for what we're using it for. But I'm assuming maybe we could sell that or something, or maybe they'd take it as trade. But regardless, I understand where the additional $9,000 comes from, or $10,000 comes from. It's because we're getting all new equipment, correct? Plus
Correct.
racks, putting it in the closet, nice installation, speakers above the audience so they can all hear well.
Yeah, new equipment. It would
Okay.
be all new equipment, that's correct.
All right,
Yes.
all right, thank you.
We could sell the mics.
Sure.
If we're not, that was the other thing I was wondering, was why are we, obviously the goosenecks I think would be more effective, because they'd be closer and easier to move and adjust if needed. But is it a matter of that we need to get new mics because these mics no longer can plug into a new mixer, or because they're that old, or is it because they're better for what we need, for what we use them for?
My impression from talking with all three of the vendors is that these are old mics,
Yeah.
and the new ones will work better.
Okay.
Because there wasn't a single vendor that recommended that we continue to use the same microphones. Some of them might have recommended that we use some of the same other pieces of equipment, but I didn't hear from any one of them that we should continue to use these microphones.
It's like Blue Water did, didn't it? We have a motion to accept the proposal not to exceed 20, right? And we have a second on that.
I guess, I'm sorry, Mr. McDonough, President McDonough, you're probably correct. I guess Blue Water was indicating new speakers, and we would use the
Existing microphone.
the existing microphones. I stand corrected, yes. But that was the bare bones proposal that they gave us.
Okay. And again, that's our motion there. If the comfort level isn't there, then, like I said, I need more information and vote accordingly. So, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Jeremini,
Yes.
Kuznicki,
Yes.
McNutt,
No?
Dove,
Yes.
Newman,
No.
Claiborne? No.
Motion passes 4-3.
Motion passes 4-3. Motion passes. Takes us to 12D, discussion regarding Dunreath Community Garden. As requested by Councilperson.
Yeah, so, I had reached out to Dave Gillum earlier, I guess last week or the week before, just inquiring an update on the community garden. I had driven by the space and noticed that there was not any progress yet. And after reflecting on the location, I was just wondering if, now knowing we have a little bit more time, it sounds like maybe our Eagle Scout's not able to start the project until springtime. Is that the best location for the longevity of this project? Being on a street that probably doesn't have the best visibility and activity, or should we think of something like Clara Miller Park to have this community garden placed? So that was my thought.
Well, there's surveillance cameras at Clear Miller, right?
We have cameras, yes, that cover portions of the park,
Portions of it.
not the entire park. but-
No.
Good portion of it.
Community garden has been something talked about requested by residents at times as well. If we were looking at locations, we certainly could do something near where the memorial is. There's a lot of space there. There's always been discussion between Veterans Committee, Beautification Committee, about potentially eventually looking at a well or some other water retention system. Obviously, this would provide another example, because we knew with the current location, or recommended location for the community garden, water was going to be an issue. And so this would at least then provide that as an option in the future, because it's always been an issue there. It's a dry section of the park, but it's also an unused space, but there's parking there. Even if it's a shallow well, doesn't necessarily have to have massive irrigation, people can get pump and get water there. And then that would potentially also address even more future needs or desires that residents have expressed for that side of the park, whether it's potentially a water fountain or something like that. So, I mean, I do think it would be very viable in that area. If not that area, we also have open space in the middle section that could be used as well. Water would not be as accessible there, or it would make less sense in that. But I mean, in terms of access as well, there's a lot more apartments and condos in that area. People who don't have their own, potentially have their own backyard gardens or things like that. So there might be a little more utility for the people in the area to use it.
So I guess if we thought that this would be a better option, is that something we can present back to Carmine, since we've already given him the green light? But it sounds like he doesn't plan to do anything until spring. Can we have him review our thoughts to see if that would be a hindrance on his side?
And I can ask him to come back in. We can put this on a future council agenda and have him come back in, and he can hear what council has to say. And some of it may have to do with the scout organization too. I mean, it sounds to me that as if he has obtained all the approvals that he needs within the scout organization for what he was proposing to do over on Dunreath. Again, I can't speak for them. I can't see why they would have a problem if he was going to be doing it in a different location, especially one that had maybe even more support from the village than the one that he previously proposed. But again, I can't speak for the scouting organization. We can open it back up to discussion with him, sure.
I think it'd be a good idea. Have him here.
Thank you.
Do that meeting.
Okay, we'll see if we can set it up for next month.
Thank you. E, set topics for the September 24th work session.
Motion to forgo.
We have a motion to forego.
Second?
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Got that one right. Pending business, the Panic pump house water quality.
Still work in progress for the DPW. We've been busy with a lot of other things since we last met, but it's still on the radar.
Second call to public.
Motion to open?
Second.
Motion to open, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Second call, public's open.
Get him going. Dave Labor, 2335 Shaken. In front of you, you have, I did a FOIA inquiry, and many of you guys, I'm not sure, but 1967 is when FOIA was put in place. When I was on the council, the council people did not want me to find out information from the office, and all I want to do is find information, that's all. And they said, well, if you can request anything from the office, all of us are going to have it, or none of you. not one person could have it. But they didn't realize there's a FOIA. So I used FOIA to find out what was going on. So I've been sending quite a few FOIAs, and the reason we have the dispatch through Oakland County is because I did a FOIA to find out how many calls we were getting up there, and we were just not getting. As a matter of fact, some of the officers that used to work here, retirees, when they leave our village, they would tell me, David, it's just not enough happening here. So, by the way, the village council voted to have Oakland County do the dispatch, because at that time, we had a young lady or people on dispatch 24/7 type of deal. So anyhow, I requested that I wanted 2024, 2025 Memorial Day hours on the police on the lake. Simple, right? I get a call, get a letter back, says, please advise that your request is denied. I've confirmed with Chief Police and Treasurer, and does not have any records containing the information that you have requested under the name reasonable known to us. Okay? Well, the reason I did FOIA is because when I opened my company, I had the cleaning crew come in, and I would hide a $100 bill in a motorhome. If they brought it to me, I would say, keep it for your honesty. If they didn't, they were gone. So I had ways of finding out if people were honest or not. But FOIA, I found out about dispatch. I found out that the village was paying for 2 police departments since 1954 through 2000 something. They were taking the money out of us. We were paying for Oakland County sheriffs and the village. The council and the presidents for all those years did not notice on their tax bill that they were taking all that money out of them. They just happened to know it. Also, I found out quite a few false police reports and no proper investigation. But I'll show you a lot of this stuff as we go down the road. The next page I have is I have checked with the chief. The police department does not have any records of any hours, either marine officers or actual lake, in either of the holidays. Okay, they send me the payroll. Actually, it looks like a timesheet of the officers, and it looked like this. It didn't tell me which ones are marine officers or what. But I found out, I had some interesting things with your police marine division, with good old Dave, after he made sure that Joanne was telling him the truth, because he asked her, what's your age? Your age, and she said, I was born in 1950. He says, you're lying to me. And they went back and forth, and he said, well, you look more like more like 50. But anyhow, Dave worked for us 2024 and 2025. Now, there was Steve in 2024. I don't know if he's still here or not, but who is the other Marine officer that we have out there? Are you folks going to tell me?
Dave's still here.
Who is it?
Officer Jissick? Officer Jissick? He's
I
still
don't
here?
know. That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay. The next page I have, we had a donation to the police department for $1,200. Any money that comes to the village should go through the treasurer. Any gifts go through this treasurer. Well, he had a little bit more time. I think I can have some more time here. Anyhow, they got $1,200 worth of work, what they did. I asked for itemized how it was spent and where was it spent. Here's the Marine Patrol Statistical breakdown, how many shifts they had and so forth. The report that told me that they didn't have. After a careful consideration, I've concluded that the matters you continue to raise, whether related to lakes, docks, marina, and other waterways, do not fall under the jurisdiction of the police department. These are civil matters, not criminal in nature, and therefore not appropriate for law enforcement. I have-
Mr. Laborn, can I interrupt really quick? The FOIA request here, if this is the one, it says you'd like to have the 2024-25 Memorial Day hours our police were on the lake,
That's right.
okay? And the report here is the shifts that they were given.
But what I was trying to tell you there is
So-
that they do have a report. That's a report.
Yes, they have a report,
Yeah.
but what you were asking for was the hours they were on the lake.
They had to have it separate in order to come up with that report.
Okay, no, these are shifts.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
these are
realize
shifts.
that, but they had to have the hours
But it's not the hour, you're asking for the hours, are you asking the hours they were working or hours they were actually on the lake?
on the lake, period.
Okay, so that, there's a difference. These
Okay,
are
the reason
shifts,
being is a Memorial Day,
but they don't keep track of the exact hours that they're on the lake. So what you were requesting in the
who was
FOIA,
assigned to the lake on Memorial Day?
they're assigned to it. You, in your request, you're asking the hours they were actually
Right.
on the lake.
We always kept that. And
So
this-
that's what you were asking. This is the report of the shifts they were doing. So, yes, so
Are
what
you
you were
telling me
asking,
they don't
what you
know,
were
we don't know how
asking,
many hours they're spending on the lake?
actually on the lake in their boat,
Yes,
can I honestly say, probably not.
okay. Let's continue. I've
Point of
also
order, Mr.
spoken
President.
with Administrator Gillen and the council.
2 minutes over the normal time.
The interpretation of riparian rights is this will be a police department approach. So in other words, he's saying here, he's not going to be dealing with the lake issues. Lakes, docks,
May I interrupt
marina,
you really quick,
and other
please?
waterways.
May I interrupt you really quick, because we've already gone 2 minutes over. If we, like, allow more time, get a motion for that, but we're already 2 minutes over.
So you're not giving me time to finish this. Just got a few more minutes.
Gone 2 more minutes over, so I'm just asking council if they would.
Make a motion to 2 final minutes with a hard stop.
Second
Give
that.
Laborn a chance to-
I'm sorry?
We have a motion for 2 more minutes.
Okay.
And we have a second, all in favor?
Okay, my question is,
Hard stop.
if we have an issue on the lake, docks, marina, and other waterways, the chief says, do not fall under the jurisdiction of the police department. He also covered it with the administrator and you folks. Did he cover that with you, that he's not going to be dealing with the docks or marina or lake? He said he did. And the reason being is, I have here, looking for a dock space to rent on Wolverine Lake, Wall Lake, Union Lake, and so forth. In the springtime, that's all over the papers. They're looking for docks to rent. If this gentleman that is control of the lake, he doesn't do all those issues, who in the village is going to control that if this guy put a boat in our lake? And right now, there's about 75 of them. The other question is, since he said that he won't do those things for the lake, Chief George stated, if the boat are docked on a lot they do not own, then he can issue a ticket. Here's a police chief that we had that said that. Now, what happened was that after I had the meeting with the DNR during the Water Management Board, the lawyer and I had a little talk, and he says, David, you guys better do something about, what do you call it, between road endings and the other one we passed, and also your parks. Otherwise, as you know, lakefront property is going to be a premium. There's only so much, and before you know it, you're going to have more boats in this lake than you know. So I went to the chief, George, and I said, can we start checking on that? And he said, well, I need a police officer in order to enforce that. Guess what? He brought in Ellsworth. Okay, I'll cover it next week or next month. Here's the way we patrol now. He sits in his car, he's not in the lake,
Mr. President, he had a hard
Thanks, Ms.
stop.
Lloyd.
right?
Thank you. Anybody else for second call?
Good evening. Joe Goodison, 2373 Ventura. Mr. Powell, a question. You had asked for approval to stripe Ventura Drive or the no parking earlier. I didn't see a layout of that. I don't know if that was presented last month when I was not here. Is it mirroring what is already there now, or is it more extensive or different in any way, shape, or form?
It is more extensive. It goes towards the properties further than what it is now.
Okay. I would like to say that I find the no parking striping to be unsightly. The only complainant has said himself that it doesn't work, and I would be against doing that for the record. Thank you.
Hello, Brian Lindman, 2364 Ventura. I also want to iterate that I don't want to see village funds spent on something, additional striping that's going to actually harm more of the residents in the cul-de-sac and not really help anyone. I don't see what advantage there is in doing that, how it's going to solve our parking problem. The striping, I think, is adequate for the purpose that it's doing, to provide area for emergency vehicles and such, and is largely followed. It's very obvious that it's there, and I would be strongly opposed to seeing that striping expanded. There's no reason for it, and it would harm a number of the residents who already have tight parking situations, and it doesn't improve the situation for anyone. Thank you.
Motion to close.
Have a motion to close?
Second.
Motion by F, second by, who was it? O'Brien. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Second call is closed. Council liaison reports. Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec has met a few times since this last council meeting, a few work sessions for the corn roast and our regular meeting where, of course, we discussed the park signs that we just approved today. We also discussed our master plan, the updated of the survey data, went through that and had some discussions about things that we need to look out for and to consider. Continuing with the farmer's market, another day yesterday, beautiful day, a little late turnout, but overall, things are still continuing to go really well. We've completed our last two Tuesdays in the parks, and overall, they were a great success. Summer garage sales occurred, of course, and that went pretty well. We reviewed that. We reviewed the results of the fishing contest, and we just awarded everybody their prizes at the corn roast. Interesting to hear from some of the folks that participated. One of the young ladies was telling me that the usual hot spots were not so hot this year, so interesting to find out what's been going on, how things have changed in the lake. Of course, corn roast planning went on thoroughly, and we discussed the grant that was received from the Oakland County Commissioners. So that was great, and we will have to provide a formal evaluation report, including quantitative and qualitative insights into the community impact for that. So we do thank the commissioners for that grant. We talked about the holiday decorating contest, came up with some new categories for this year's Halloween one. So we're looking forward to that going. We'll be moving our meeting to October 27th rather than our regularly scheduled date, just to accommodate the decorating contest so that we're not meeting back-to-back weeks. In case anybody's interested, the new categories for this year will be Skull and Bones, all things skeletons, Fright Night for scary things, All Hallows Eve will be Halloween-themed, pumpkins, things like that, Too Funny to Be Scary, and then Movie Night. We get a lot of the Night Before Christmas kind of stuff out there and everything else. So if somebody goes full on themes, we figured we should give them a category, kind of building off of our previous years of experiences and seeing these kinds of events. And then, of course, we have our blood drive coming up on October 13th from 2 to 6 p.m. So And then in terms of Veterans Memorial Subcommittee, bricks had arrived, and we put those in the Sunday before Labor Day. So the latest bricks have been installed. In terms of the corn roast, just happened on Saturday. Had I would say one of the better turnouts, if not the best turnout we've had. Parking lot was packed, parking was in the grass. Weather was a little chilly, a little overcast, but overall, can't complain because it didn't rain. So it was a very good day.
And did a lot of great things. ZBA?
Had one case. I have one case, I believe, this month.
Water management?
We failed to have a quorum.
Okay. Planning?
No meeting.
16, Chief.
Yesterday, had the privilege of attending the State of the Lakes luncheon yesterday, along with council members Kaznecki, Laybourne, Treasurer Hanson, and Administrator Gillum. I thought Councilman Jeremy did a fantastic job delivering the State of the Village address. Very articulate, and just kind of reviewed some of the things that we had over the last year. So I was very proud to be part of the group that represented the Village of Wolverine Lake yesterday at that luncheon. Next, in October, I'll be coming with you for the approval of the purchase of the new rifles and shotguns accessories. If you guys approve the funds for that, back in the budget workshop, we've been gathering the quotes, and I'll put together some new business for the October meeting, so looking forward to getting some new weapons. Went through the Operation Medicine Cabinet bucket and pulled out approximately 15.6 pounds of unused medication. And so just as a reminder, I don't want your Advil, Aleve, or old diarrhea medication in there. It gets thrown away, so I don't want that, please. Anyway, so we have a contact over at South Line that takes it to DEA and has it incinerated for us, so I just brought that over there this past week. And then just a reminder, there's the Narcan, the Naloxone, plenty of supplies up there in the front of the office there. Please take some. Just it might be a good idea to have some in your car or your purse or whatever, just in case someone needs them. You can you can attend some there. So other than that, that's all I have for you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Treasurer Hanson.
I wanted to congratulate Parks and Rec on a wonderful corn roast. I didn't get to make it. Tabitha was there, and of course, Dave and everyone was there, and I was told how great it was. And the meeting yesterday was indeed a really good meeting. Mark represented us really well, and I too was very proud to be at the Village of Wolverine Lake table. And
We got to ride in the back seat.
we got to ride in the back seat of a police car. It's a really hard seat. Dave and I had a meeting today with our Chase representative, and we're making arrangements for some items to make our work a little easier. And but we're adding more layers of fraud protection, and that's always difficult at first. It's but we are working through that, and I think that's it. I think that's it for the Treasurer's Department. We had our last day of taxes came and went, and the last day to actually pay taxes is February 28th, but it was a really good year. No real big issues with our tax season, so it was all good. February 28th, yeah. That's the last day to pay. September 2nd was the last day without a penalty, but yeah. They still have till the 28th of February.
Straight go.
A couple quick points, to echo some earlier comments, to acknowledge all the work that the Parks and Recreation Board did at the corn roast over the weekend. And not only that too, but a special shout out to the volunteers that were there, people that really maybe don't have anything to do with the village other than the fact that they live here in the village. They're not on the Parks and Rec Board, they're not village employees, they're not elected officials, but they choose to donate their time, and we especially appreciate their efforts on Saturday as well. So, again, it was a great event. So, you'll remember at last month's council meeting, we made some changes in terms of our soil erosion and sedimentation control policies in response to the audit that the State Department Eagle performed earlier this year. I received email notification today, and I will be receiving formal written notification that, based upon the changes that we have made and the additional documentation that I provided to Eagle, that our program has now been approved and now meets state standards. So, we had discussion last week at a special meeting about bringing a new building official on board. Council had indicated they wanted to accept the proposal from Carlisle Wortman. Village Attorney Alowski and I are still working through some of the language in the contract, but the folks from Carlisle Wortman started work this week. They started their first inspections on Tuesday, yesterday, and in fact, I think they were out of the plans that were outstanding, that were in the queue at the time that they started. I think there might have been one that was sent back for other information, but other than that, we are completely caught up on our plan review right now. So it's been night and day, and it's going to be a much better level of service for our residents. So, so we appreciate council's support in making those changes. So that's all I've got. Thank you.
Council comments. Councilman.
Okay. Aaron and I attended a monthly LEA meeting today, and needless to say, everything's hot and heavy because next month is our big Taste of the Lakes, which is the night before our next council meeting, Tuesday night, the 7th of October. Tickets are on sale upstairs, or you can see Ms. Aaron or myself. We also have tickets, $25 in advance, $30 at the door. And hey, if you think you're even going to come, buy the ticket. If you don't show up, it's a nice donation to LEA. We heard today that there's some changes brewing through the state and the county as to how some of the programs are administered, and looks like we're going to get hit even harder with things that we need, our organization needs to do, that they're pushing back, and things that would have been considered a lot more serious. Or anyway, I think everybody's caseload is overworked. The corn growth, I agree with everything Dave said, and it almost takes a whole village to put that on. It's incredible how many volunteers there are for that. There are people that, obviously, there's the students, that show up, and there are some that are just families, and their sons and daughters and husbands show up every single year, and not even telling us in advance what they show up. Cooking from, soaking corn and cooking from early in the morning until afterwards. So it's a wonderful event, and in the 2XL, I think has quite a following. I think there's a lot of people that really like that band. So that was great, and it was a lot of fun attending the luncheon yesterday. Thank you for inviting us, and I was quite proud of Mark as well. He did a really good job. There is one takeaway that I was looking at afterwards. There were 4 different areas, communities. There was Walled Lake. Let's see here, I wrote this down. Wixom, Commerce Township, and Waterford all stated they have increased or enlarged their footprint as far as pathways. All 4 of them said that. And I know, Dave, that you had talked to Oakland County, and they're against doing any more for us help with pathways, but this is something I feel very strongly about, and I think that South Commerce is an accident waiting to happen. I saw today that there was a road commission out there finally trimming some of the vegetation on South Commerce. You couldn't even see the guardrail. It had gotten so thick. But can we reconsider that, or at least keep it on the table again? And can we possibly, is there a possibility of reaching out for another grant of some kind from, I don't know, maybe Christine Long will come through again, but a lot of them talked about grants that they had received. So is that something maybe we can still think about or do? Or
We can always look into grants, but really it's a question of South Commerce being under the Road Commission's authority.
Oh.
We could have all the money we want, but unless they're willing to let us do work within the road right away.
Well,
So,
how were we able to get that area done off of Shankin, between Shankin and El George's? That was added, that pathway was enlarged. You know, south of Shankin toward Kaya.
yeah. Mike, I don't know, Mike, were you, I think that might have been before my time here.
It was before your time, and it was a very special issue because the lake came up so close. There wasn't even a paved shoulder at that time. And so we included a very large paved shoulder, and we still have the separation from the pathway to the paved area of the roadway, and that's the only way Oakland County allowed it to be
Oh,
done.
that's the piece in between? Yeah,
Correct,
okay.
so we have a very large paved
do,
area there.
yeah,
Correct.
Okay, well, anyway, I would like to just keep that flame going, and thank you, everybody, and hopefully see you all at the Taste of the Lakes with Aaron and I, and support us.
Okay, onwards and upwards, second annual Back to School Barge Bash was a tremendous success. We had twice as many children attend compared to last year and collected a generous amount of needed supplies for Lakes Area Youth Assistance. Heartfelt thank you to Outstanding Orthodontics for sponsoring the event, for the Mallow Beach HOA for sharing our beautiful lake with the community, and to our Marine Officer Grenwell for joining us at the bash. Congratulations to the Parks and Rec Board on an outstanding corn roast. I know how much planning and effort goes into hosting this event, and along with their dedicated volunteers, they did a wonderful job. It was a wonderful day filled with generational memories. Lakes Area Youth Assistance will be hosting the 24th Annual Taste of the Lakes on October 7th at Edgewood. Tickets are available here or online. I encourage everyone to attend. On a separate note, with our new building inspector firm now on board, I'd like to suggest that we review what options we have as a village to encourage contractors to follow our ordinances and protocols. What legal recourse do we have if a contractor repeatedly disregards our guidelines? This may be more of a question for Jennifer, if others on council feel it's worth exploring further. In light of comments heard tonight regarding the striping at the Ventura Hammerhead, I just wonder if it's an option for us to hold off on any work being done up there until we receive and review the documentation that Pam has requested from Mr. Daly. And lastly, I want to thank our department heads for their thoughtful monthly reports, Jennifer's treasury update, the chief's police report, Dave's administrative summary, and Bill's code enforcement update. I'd also like to propose that we begin receiving a monthly report from our DPW department to highlight their accomplishments, ongoing work, and upcoming projects. I think it would help us maintain a comprehensive view of what's happening across all areas of the village.
Stay safe out there, respond.
See you next month. Well, until next week, I hope you're all blessed and stay safe, and I know that Charlie Kirk's family can't hear us, but I'm very saddened, and I've been praying, my wife and I have been praying tremendously for his family, and I encourage you all to do the same. Thank you.
You know.
I agree with Aaron regarding, is there something we can do with contractors who are either egregious or habitual in avoiding acquiring permits and other things? And don't think it would hurt to have a DPW report. Love knowing what our guys are doing. They work hard and they do a lot of stuff, but sometimes we don't see it, obviously. Thanks, Mike, for coming out to the corn roast, even though you wore a Ohio State cap.
Just for you.
Guess that's okay, but not so much. Chief, thank you for coming out. You and your officers that showed up. Always great to have you there and bring out some of the vehicles. Thank you to the DPW for putting up the tents and everything, getting the grillers out there and everything else that they do in order to make the corn roast happen. They get all that stuff done for me a few days before. Andy always goes through it with me, so it's really helpful. Thank you, Pam and Aaron, for volunteering for most of the day, and Dave for helping with the cleanup and everything. Greatly appreciate your guys' help. Of course, the PNR board, great effort from everybody there. The NHS volunteers were great. A couple of them even participated in the pie eating contest to fill out the ranks. I thought they'd crush it, being way older, but they disappointed me there. But they had a good time, and they were a great help, of course. And again, thank you to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners for their grant. It's really helpful for us. And of course, the Penny Lake Market for all that they do in prepping the food, cooking, heating the brats for us and everything, acquiring everything. They're a huge help in getting things going. And then thank you to everybody who attended. Hope everybody enjoyed themselves.
You want me to chime in, or you want to comment first?
You chime in.
Okay. I read the email chain, and this is going to be really brief, because I would need more specific, like if you had specific violations, but my answer would really mirror what Dave said, is code citations should be issued if there's an actual violation of an ordinance, whether it's zoning or general code. Some contractors are required to get specific licenses, like a fertilizer applicator. So if there's a violation of that, it's possible that their license could get revoked. But short of a court order enjoining someone from doing business in the village, it'd be very difficult to prevent someone from actually working in the village. But it will depend on what the exact situation is. So if you want to, through Dave or however, if you have some specific examples, I can
I think
look at.
Dave knows some of the examples. but-
Okay.
Oh, but if there are ones that are
Yeah,
on your radar in particular, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
and it might be a better moving forward with our new team.
Right.
On board.
Word of mouth, reputation kind of stuff, really, but.
Props to Parks and Rec for the corn roast. That was a nice event. It really showcases the village. So thank you for that. I kind of parallel Councilman Claiborne's about maybe possibly pausing the striping potential until we have information from Mr. Daly that was requested. I think it would be a wise decision there. And comparing Councilman O'Brien's that prayer for Charlie Kirk and his family, young family, President Missouri. And Chief, so last year we had one of the Marine officers at the end of the season here kind of give us an overview. Is that
Sure.
something we can do again?
Absolutely. We'll plan on bringing him in October.
Okay.
Season should be over by then.
Thank you. And that's all I have.
Motion to adjourn?
Would we want a motion to delay the striping?
Yeah, that's probably needed because we already approved it.
Right.
Motion to hold off on the striping?
Till next meeting?
Until next meeting.
Second.
We have a motion to hold off on the striping by Huff, second by Newman. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion to adjourn, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.